Frank had always believed that fishing was the closest thing to peace, the kind of quiet that wraps around your bones and hums in your ears like a lullaby. It was the one thing that had remained constant during the everyday hustle of his life. So when Sara, his wife, asked to join him on one of his weekend fishing trips, he didn't hesitate. They drove 3 hours north to the far end of Deep Creek Lake, a place tucked between cliffs and dense shadow-choked forest. It was rarely on any maps, and Frank liked it that way. The fewer people, the better the fishing. But as they pulled up to the narrow gravel trail that led to the water's edge, Sara leaned forward in the passenger seat and squinted through the windshield. "This place feels wrong," she said quietly. Frank chuckled, brushing her off. "That's just the woods talking. You'll see. Once we get a line in the water, it'll feel like heaven." The two of them set up camp near the rocky shore, the lake still and black like spilled ink. There were no birds, no bugs, not even the hum of wind in the trees, just silence. Sara noticed it first, that strange hush, but she didn't mention it again. Not when Frank handed her a rod. Not when the first hour passed without a single bite. Not even when the water started moving in unnatural ways, slight ripples pushing inward from all sides toward the center of the lake. Frank was the first to get a tug. He grinned, bracing his feet as the rod bent almost to breaking. The line whined under the strain. "Got something big," he shouted. Sara leaned over to help, eyes wide with excitement and nerves. Whatever was on the other end of that line wasn't just fighting, it was pulling. Hard. Then the line snapped. Frank stumbled back, breathing hard. "Son of a..." Sara stared at the water. It had stilled again, too fast. No fish surfaced, no bubbles, nothing. They didn't speak much after that. Something unspoken had shifted. A tension had settled around them like smoke. Night came too quickly. Their campfire barely pushed back the darkness. Shadows danced among the trees, and the lake behind them stretched like a black mirror. Frank sat with a beer in hand, watching the fire. Sara huddled in her hoodie, staring toward the water. Then they heard it. A splash. A single, deep splash, like something massive had broken the surface. They stood at the same time, flashlights in hand, and crept toward the lake. The light barely touched the water, but they could see it wasn't calm anymore. It churned in slow spirals like it was breathing. Frank stepped closer. "Maybe a bear," he said. Sara didn't answer. She was staring at something beneath the water. A shape. No. Multiple shapes, long, slithering. Then it surfaced, only for a second. It was enormous. Not a fish, not any kind of aquatic animal they'd ever seen. Its back broke the surface like a sunken hill, slick with moss and scales that shimmered green and black. Then it was gone. Sara screamed and stumbled back. Frank grabbed her arm, dragging her away from the edge. "What the hell was that?" she gasped. Frank shook his head. I don't know. There's nothing that big in here. This lake isn't even that deep." They packed up in record time, fumbling with tents and bags, but they never turned their backs to the water. It watched them. They could feel it. The presence of something intelligent beneath the surface, waiting, measuring. Sara begged to leave. Frank agreed. They hiked back to the truck with flashlights sweeping the woods, and every tiny noise making their hearts stutter. But the truck wouldn't start. Dead battery. No signal. They sat in the cab, silent. "Why here?" Sara finally whispered. Why would something like that be here? Frank thought back. He remembered something. An old man he'd met at the bait shop years ago. Wild eyes, always muttering. He'd warned Frank to stay away from the far end of Deep Creek, said that end of the lake had been cursed long before the trees had grown around it, said there was a monstrous creature below the surface that was older than the earth around it. Frank hadn't listened. He thought it was just the ramblings of someone who'd been alone too long. A heavy thud snapped them back. The truck shook. Something had slammed into it. From below. Frank threw open the door, shouting for Sara to run. They bolted into the woods. No path, no plan, just pure panic. Behind them, the truck groaned, metal crunching like a can under a boot. They ran until their lungs burned and their legs gave out. Somewhere deep in the forest, they collapsed, backs to a tree. Sara sobbed quietly. Frank pulled her close, whispering empty reassurances he didn't believe. The forest was quiet again. Too quiet. Then the whispering started. Not voices, not wind. A wet, bubbling whisper, like breath through water. Sara's eyes widened. She pointed. Between the trees, something moved, slithering low, massive. The ground quaked under it, and then a single yellow eye opened in the dark, the size of a dinner plate, vertical slit, unblinking. Frank pulled Sara up. Don't stop, no matter what. Don't look back. They ran again, through thorns, over rocks, deeper into the unknown woods. Hours passed, or minutes. Time didn't matter anymore. Eventually, they found an old ranger's cabin, rotted, half collapsed. But it was shelter. They barricaded the door and waited. The eye came back, staring through cracks in the wood, watching, never blinking. Then the whispering voice came again. But this time, it spoke. Hungry. The wood snapped. Frank grabbed a rusted axe from the wall. Sara screamed. The last thing she saw before everything went black was a mass of black scales and teeth rising from the floorboards, from the walls, from the air itself. She woke up at dawn, alone. No Frank, no creature, no sign of struggle, just the lake in the distance, calm again. Still, innocent. She walked back barefoot, clothes torn, numb. Near the water's edge, something stuck out from the sand. A fishing rod. Frank's. She picked it up, hands trembling. The reel clicked once. Then again. Something tugged at the line. Sara dropped it and ran. And behind her, the lake rippled, as if something had noticed. Something patient. Something still hungry. Thank you for checking out Sinister Stories for You channel. If you love our spine-chilling tales and terrifying horror stories, don't forget to stab that subscribe button. Murder that bell icon so you never miss a new horror-filled adventure. Your support helps keep the nightmares coming. Please comment below and let us know what kind of twisted, sinister stories you want next.